All right, welcome. It's 7:03, so I think we should get started. My name is Frank Sanchez. I am the proud principal here at Columbia High School. We're very fortunate to have Dr. Jen Antone here. She's a fabulous director of counseling. This is her first year with us at Columbia. We're so lucky to have her. She also actually is a director of guidance 6 through 12, so she is in the middle schools as well. And she'll actually be at one of our middle schools tomorrow, Dr. Antone. So here tonight, we're here to talk about our freshman academy, the ninth grade program at Columbia High School, which started this year and is doing extremely well. And we'll also discuss how we can start selecting courses for next year, which is super, super exciting. At Columbia High School, I said just recently that the Freshman Academy is a brand new part of our high school. It's something that we started this past year. I've been planning for several years, though, because we really are committed to a successful, transition from middle school to high school so that our students can do so extremely well at Columbia. Jen, if you want to go to the next slide for me.
Certainly. So we recognize that transition from eighth grade to high school is super, super important. We want to ensure that our students get the very best social emotional support and resources so they can thrive and be successful in all areas, which includes academics as well as student wellness. In terms of freshman, go ahead, Mr.
No,
Sanchez.
I was going to say what makes Freshman Academy a little more unique in our high school is that we're really creating a school within a school, right? So consider this more of a mini school of 500 rather than the freshmen, being part of the greater school of 2,000 skills. They'll be working in smaller teams with teachers that are working together and collaborating to help students build really a strong foundation of coursework, how to take notes, executive functioning skills, so that they could be really transition to what is expected at the high school level. So to be honest with you, we kind of, as part of the Freshman Academy, stealing what works really well at your child's current middle school, right? So we have teams of teachers. So we created a small learning community where each house, we call them actually houses, each of the houses at the Freshman Academy have a cohort of teachers that work with those 100 students pretty much exclusively. This builds better communication, it fosters social emotional growth, and improves student engagement. So when we talk about these houses, right, again, about 100 students will be in each of the houses. Right now, they're named after, I think, gemstones. So we have onyx and pearl, ruby, for example. Those teachers, Mr. Anto, we could hear you. Yeah. So basically, those are in our core subjects. That's math, science, social studies, and ELA. But students will still be with other freshmen that are not part of the house, right? We call that off house with electives, as well as world languages. So they can still meet new people. Course levels. So just so you know, each team has the different levels present. So there'll be honors, college prep, or what we call academic here, as well as some small group instruction for special services, as well as multilingual students. So all of that will be within a house, and we basically have the all of our freshman core classes, the house classes, are in the D wing, which will kind of give you a map in a little bit to show you exactly where that is. But obviously the cafeteria actually is in the D wing, but their freshman PE, they'll be going into gyms right across the building, so they're not completely isolated uh, throughout the day. They'll be taking world language classes throughout the building. They'll also have the library and other places that they'll go throughout the day, but their core classes will be in the D wing. So we're very happy with what our freshman teams have been doing. We've seen really great progress, and knocking on wood, I know it's just the end of the second marking period, but we have seen dramatic increases in attendance, dramatic increases in grades, or significant increase in grades, and definitely a decrease in disciplinary issues. So we definitely know that this freshman academy plan is working, and you can see why. All of the teams take part in team building activities, anti-bullying lessons, workshops on study skills, a lot of great projects too. As I mentioned, our multilingual students or ESL students will be part of the freshman academy, and they'll also be taking still part of their own classes within the school. They'll take courses as their program needs. So, for example, they'll have world history, just like our other all our freshman students have world history, but theirs will be in a world history ESL class. While some students, though, their language is much better, their third year ELL or multilingual, they will be in the mainstream classes with other freshmen. You can go to the next slide.
And absolutely. And if I could just add here that one of the most wonderful things about Columbia High School that you will not always find in every single high school is the kind of amount of choice and really having the courses that meet student needs. So just like Mr. Sanchez said, in this particular case, we are able to provide that choice and that personalization to meet the unique needs of every single student. Okay, so the next thing that we're showing you here is some of our special services options or special education options. All students with disabilities will have access to all of the same programming that all of our freshmen have. They'll be placed on teams where the appropriate supports are built in to align with the student's individual needs. Now, for example, some students might have primarily ICS or inclusion classes. Some might have a hybrid schedule between inclusion and what we call our pull-out resource classes. Some students may not need inclusion in particular subject areas, but might need it in some. And as well as any students who might need self-contained classes in some of those areas. All of these options will be available within our Freshman Academy House framework. So in addition to built-in instructional supports in the classroom, we also have some school-wide supports that are available to all students. We have actually just this week, we ran our Eyes on the Fries group. You might say, what the heck is Eyes on the Fries? But Eyes on the Fries is an academic skills and social skills development group. Sometimes they're a little bit larger than other times. And it kind of focuses our students on building capacity around executive functioning. Some of those skills that we know will help them be successful across grade levels, and across instructional areas. We are also very, very fortunate to have a wonderful partnership through Achieve Tutoring. Achieve Tutoring is available through the Achieve Foundation, our community partners, and tutoring is available in all of the core academic subjects. Slam Lab is facilitated through our teachers. So particular teachers are assigned to Slam Lab and they can provide extra assistance in the core subjects. We also have lunch groups that support social emotional learning as student needs sort of present themselves. We're always looking to make data-driven decisions on that. What is happening with our students? What kinds of programs would benefit them? Our social work intern program, very, very unique to Columbia High School. And essentially, we capitalize on partnerships with nearby universities that have outstanding graduate students that want to learn what it means to be, what it means to fulfill the role and function of a social worker in our school systems. And social work interns can provide individual and small group support under the supervision of a qualified social worker, Miss Jenny Easton. Very similar to the program at SOMS that many of you are used to with Miss Allison Steiner, and at MMS. They have a little bit of a smaller program there, but through the Miss Gloria Diaz is the supervisor for social workers over there. I'm sorry, social work interns. And then our GMAC programs, we have some wonderful affinity spaces for our students that students can get involved with. Our counselor, Miss Hicks, helps us run all of that. Okay. All right. So, in addition to some of these tier one universal programs that all students have access to, we have some things also baked into the academic areas. We want our students to feel a high degree of self-efficacy as they learn about note-taking, about organization, how to study for different tests and that come through different instructional areas, how to set goals, both in terms of academic and personal behavioral goals, time management, and so on. These are the skills that, to be honest, when we speak with colleges and employers in the area, these are the skills that they want our Columbia High School graduates to have. I'm in countless talks with college admissions folks, and they love our graduates, folks. That's the good news. They love our graduates. And so these sorts of things that we build into the classroom experience, as well as the freshman academy across that grade level experience for our students, helps our students get there. Okay, a little bit about our NJTSS team. NJTSS is some people know it as multi-tiered system of support. Essentially, it means that any student struggling, whether it's academically, behaviorally, or in that social emotional side, we have a multidisciplinary team of teachers, helping professionals, child study team that helps us problem solve and create goals to help those students meet with success. So if any of you at any time feel like you haven't heard that you feel like your student may need some additional support, you haven't heard anything about NJTSS, you can absolutely feel free to reach out to me or to your child's school counselor, and we can see if that would be something that would help. We meet throughout the year. All right, Mr. Sanchez, why don't you take this one?
Yes. So if you look here, I don't know if you can see my cursor, but Parker Avenue is on the bottom, right? That's the front door of Columbia High School. And you can see the D wing is what's basically on the corner of Parker and Valley. It's this extension here. It has 4 floors. The ground floor, basically when you kind of come into the parking lot, is the cafeteria. And then there are 3 floors on top. The 2 floors in the middle, the first and the second floor, are all freshman classrooms. So that's the D wing. Students will enter in the morning at that door. That's where they scan in. That's our freshman entrance. However, freshmen who are on the bus can still come in and swipe in on Academy Street, or they could also come right through the front door as well if they would like. But this is where we definitely have everything for them there. All right. High school versus middle school. So what we're going to talk very quickly is that I don't want to make it sound like this is for reals, but this is definitely what is at the high school level. Passing classes will incur, you'll receive credit, and it's credits that will allow a student to graduate high school. Then there are also graduation requirements within those credits. So that's what we're going to talk about today. So we can go to the next slide, I guess. Okay, so full year at Columbia High School, you get a class. It's a 5-credit class. So English 1, honors, or uh, what do we call it again? Academic is 5 credits. Now, a student might take a class that is only a semester. Semester classes are mostly within our electives. So I would assume woodworking is a semester course, right, Dr. Antone?
Yes, it is.
Good. So I just want to make sure. So woodworking is 2.5 credits. And then the PE class and health, those are the only classes that we break up within the quarter system. So you can have that for the first marking period, second marking period, third marking period, fourth marking period. However, I can tell you right now, freshmen have PE marking periods 1 through 3, and then quarter 4 is their health class. Do you want to go here? Oh, I can. Let me explain this real quick. To become a sophomore or to graduate high school here at Columbia High School, you need 120 credits. So therefore, 30 credits is what you need to graduate. You need to have, right, 30 credits to each year.
To be right to move on to the
promote
next
yourself
grade
to a
level.
sophomore.
That's
To
correct.
graduate, it's 120.
That's correct.
So next year, with our new schedule model that we'll have, students will be able to have a lunch period, a common lunch period in the day, and they could take and select 4 classes in the morning and 4 classes in the afternoons for a total of 8. Now, I would recommend, but again, it's up to you and your child. Our students for the past few years, freshmen, have only been allowed to take 35 credits. In other words, 7 classes and a study hall, right? They've had a study hall. So that is, I think, something that's healthy for your children. So that is my recommendation, but they can also actually sign up for 40. But again, for the past 2 or 3 years, our students have, our freshman students for the past 2 years have been required to only take 7 classes. This year we are opening it up. So,
can I add one thing to that, Mr.
yes,
Sanchez?
no, please. I just wanted to, yes.
So to some degree, parents, families, and any students out there, I wish I could see all of you. It's hard to talk into an abyss, but so that decision may also sort of transpire when you are able to see your next year schedule. That I am hopeful to get to everybody, much earlier than we had in the past. And that may be something like, well, I've changed my mind about this alternate, or I've changed my mind. I would like that additional class. So none of this is written in stone at this juncture, but we do use those course request numbers to sort of figure out how many sections of which class we are running. I just saw a really great question come through that I know other parents have, so I'm just going to give voice to it really quick. A student can have study hall and conference time. Every student is entitled to conference time. It comes at the end of the day. So teachers are there, and they are there to provide additional support, answer questions, just have a little one-on-one time. If there was a difficult math concept, for instance, maybe 15 minutes of time with the teacher will help to solidify it. We encourage the use of conference time all of the time. So it's a great, great thing to have baked into the schedule. A study hall would be an additional one of those 8 periods that Mr. Sanchez said. You wouldn't have it every single day, of course. Conference time you do have every single day, just like you have lunch every single day. And it would be really time that your student can guarantee that they are able to study, get some homework done. If they're student athletes, doing 2 to 3 seasons of athletics every single year, they're active in many activities. That is something that you could have at your disposal. The question, if you play a sport, would you have PE that semester? Well, we have a wonderful program called Option 2 that you can apply to, and our supervisor of health and PE, Ms. Monfasani, Nicole Monfasani, facilitates that program. And when you are approved for 1 marking period of Option 2, you do not need to be in PE for that marking period. And essentially, you do get that study hall. So that's something to weigh in as well. It's a really, really great question. And let me see, I just wanted to, that last question I think was pretty relevant to our final slide here. Is the difference between 35 and 40 credits essentially whether you take 1 or 2 electives? That's correct. That's absolutely correct. You can take up to 2 electives, or you can take 1 elective and a study hall. You will have space, and there may not be a right answer on this, folks. It's whatever works, just as Mr. Sanchez said, whatever works for your individual student. Okay. Does dance count out of PE as well?
No.
Go ahead, Mr.
So
Sanchez.
yeah, I was just going to say we're going to get to actually the graduation requirements, and specifically the dance classes we offer are fine arts classes, and they can be part of the fine arts graduation requirement, while PE is PE.
Yeah.
So this is something we can go through them
Yeah, we'll
now.
keep going. Okay. And there was a question, can you take more than 5 total credits? Yes. Your schedule will either be 35 credits, which essentially breaks down to 7 classes at 5 credits apiece, roughly, or 8 periods of 5 credits, bearing 5 credits apiece, which would be 40. Yes, dance outside of school, we'll cover that as well. That second question came in on that. All right, let me go ahead. I'm not used to being the screen sharer. Mr. Sanchez may take me off that job in future
No, it's
webinars.
fine.
Okay.
So here are the graduation requirements. There are 4 years of English, right? At 5 credits a pop. So that's 5 credits, 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th grade. You got 4 years of physical education / health. Health is replaced sophomore year for driver's ed. The 3 years of a science is the New Jersey minimum. Okay. So 3 years of a science, that's 15 credits. And then 3 years of a social studies. 1 year of a world language. Now, I put this all together very quickly just to say that's the minimum. But as you'll see, colleges, more competitive colleges, will want to see more than just, for example, 1 year of a world language, right? 1 year of a visual performing art. The visual performing arts, or the fine arts, as I mentioned before, is different than the 21st century life and careers, which is also 5 credits. Okay. And finally, you have to take a semester of financial literacy, which is 2.5 credits. Now, in my plan, in which I suggest, hey, maybe you take 7 classes freshman year as you transition, as what our successful students are doing this year and the year before. you might want to then sign up because you have that study hall for an online financial literacy class. You know, that's what a study hall can do for you. But again, you could take that semester of financial literacy anytime through your career.
Okay. So this next slide, I don't want anybody to get too concerned about this, but I'm going to do my best to sort of speak to this a little bit. Um, so generally speaking, our classes do have some of our classes have additional weightings. So an honors class, for example, is weighted a little bit heavier than an academic or college prep, as some systems know it. And an AP is weighted a little bit heavier than an honors, and you know definitely heavier than an academic. So why we weight them is because the level of rigor is different depending on which level you are enrolled in. The weighted GPA is what we really kind of look at. It's what, mostly colleges are sort of honed in on. Um, you know, we don't really want to worry too much about that at this time. The GPA you really will not know GPA until the end of the academic year, by and large, with the exception of our quarter or our semester courses, which finish earlier than June, right? Other than that, GPA is given at the end of the academic year.
Okay.
Okay, so once again, not to hammer this too much, this is really the difference between the three different types of courses or leveled courses. They are all aligned with New Jersey student learning standards, and academic rigor is a part of all three levels. Okay, we're going to talk a little bit about some of the habits of that we can think about when we go into some of those accelerated courses. But that's it in a nutshell. AP courses, we are definitely going to be talking about AP as your student kind of transitions into ninth grade year.
Right.
But AP courses really start at Columbia High School at the 10th grade year.
Yes, I just want to emphasize that. It's something we feel very strongly about. We're not looking to put, AP classes freshman year. However, World History Honors, the World History Honors 2 class,
Yeah.
it follows the same curriculum as the AP World class. In other words, the same content or sequence and scope of the world history. So we probably have like a third of the students who say, hey, you know what? It's the same content, or at least not content, scope and sequence, right, of world history. Why don't I take a chance and take the AP test, right? About a third of our kids do that. They're not taking AP World History. They are taking World History 2, World History 2 honors, but they elect to sign up to take the AP World History test. That is the only thing freshman year you can do with AP. We're not, we start to offer several AP classes in the sophomore year. And then of course we have, we have over 27 AP classes junior and senior year. There's plenty to do then.
Absolutely.
Okay.
All right. Go ahead, Mr. Sanchez.
No. I'm sorry. I was thinking I was answering a question and I didn't even look at the slide yet. Are you ready for honors? What do you think? So, we at Columbia High School, we allow students to self-select the level of rigor they want for high school. I would say it doesn't make a lot of sense in my opinion. I have a freshman. I have three daughters. I have a freshman right now in high school, and she's not taking honors in every single subject. Even though she was, I think, very successful in middle school, she's really taking her honors classes and her humanities because that's where she's interested in those subjects. She also, we didn't take honors in the math perhaps because she doesn't love to complete work on time, right? and I definitely thought study habits can improve. So those were things that we kind of wrestled with just last year when my daughter and my wife and I were trying to figure out what classes to sign her up for. So that was our family decision making process. Of course, it could be for everyone, but again, a student can sign up for any honors class they wish.
All right. So, this is what a sample schedule for your ninth grader could look like. Much of this is predetermined because they are freshmen. However, there is always choice involved. So English 1, students can take academic or honors. Likewise, in math, students have several different choices depending on, what they not only took at their middle school years, but also, what it is that they, feel is the right fit for them coming into high school. Remembering that no middle school math can, or any middle school classes for that matter, will show up on the high school transcript, and the clock for how many years of what the state requires. Remember how we kind of went through that slide a few slides ago, starts when students enter ninth grade. So just something to keep in mind. Biology, by and large, our ninth grade students all take biology. Of course, world history too, which Mr. Sanchez just talked about. These have the academic or honors options there. PE is just, PE with Health 9, which will be 1 quarter. We strongly recommend getting that first year of a world language. If you are able, if you are, if your child is a native speaker, or you work with Dr. Robles on moving up to the second year of the world language. But either way, once again, if you are going into Spanish 2 or French 2, or Chinese 2 for that matter, you would the first year of it that is on the 8th grade, from the 8th grade year, would not be on the transcript, and therefore doesn't count as 1 year in terms of the state requirements. However, when colleges, I will say, see that your child is starting in the second year of the world language, they will know without a shadow of a doubt that your student was very successful in their first year of that world language in the 8th grade year. That's fairly commonplace. And then number 7 and 8, an elective of your choice. So either way, even if you decide to take a study hall for like spot number 8, your child is going to get an elective of their choice. All right. We do have students indicate their alternates so that we have, plenty to choose from if capacity or staffing does not permit, enough sections to run. We try to avoid that at all costs, but there are times when something fills up and we do need to go to the second choice. And then study hall or that second elective of your choice. Please note that when we're talking about 8 instructional periods, those 8 do not include lunch and conference time. Lunch is going to be its own unit lunch right there in the middle of the day, and conference time will be at the end of the day, accessible to all students, no matter which letter day it is. These are our ninth grade elective courses at this time. I'll give everybody just a moment to look at this. We do have, I want to point your attention to a couple of new offerings for the 26-27 school year. We are very, very excited to introduce our career pathways. And at the foot of this slide, you will see Woodworking 1 and Woodworking 2. That actually should say Woodworking 1 and 2. They are both accessible to grade 9 students next year. And this year we had Woodworking 1. Aviation 1, one of our brand new offerings. And as part of our health science pathway, we have an intro course that is dual enrollment eligible, called the Dynamics of Healthcare Professions. And that is through Rutgers University. Students can opt in to take a test for that class at the end, and if the if the score is high enough, it will be Rutgers credit, Rutgers University credit. Okay. All right. Um,
I'm
you
sorry.
go ahead. That's
Um,
okay, Mr. Sanchez.
just what was I going to say? Oh, these links are live. So like when I'll send the video of this incredible webinar, engaging webinar. Once we have that finished, we'll have the video and we'll have a link. We'll also give you the slide deck, so you have the links to the program of studies. Although it's I don't know. I'm sure it's in other places. You probably have copies of it too. Um,
Okay.
yeah,
Oh,
sorry.
oh, that's okay.
The same thing with the program of studies.
Okay, wonderful. So yeah, I would just want to just piggyback on what Mr. Sanchez so eloquently said. Folks, the program of studies, particularly the first several pages of the program of studies, is so informative. You will get so many questions answered just by reviewing that. But give us your feedback if there is anything that still feels unclear. I'm happy to answer any questions. You can always email myself or a counselor. You can also email your 8th grade counselor and they will bump any questions to me that they cannot answer. But as you can see from this slide, we are all about having personalized diploma plus pathways for all of our students. We want our students to get a high school diploma and then some. Okay. And that looks differently for all different students, but that is really what we are trying to do at Columbia High School. All right, so much of this is in progress here. We are going out to our 8th graders, and I really want to say rising 9th graders because we are looking at them as 9th graders at this point. We will be at MMS tomorrow and at SOMS on February 17th. You can continue to submit course requests, which actually this date is incorrect.
About
The
the
date
20th? Oh, I'm sorry.
it is, yeah, it's February 20th. I think our eyes missed this from last year, but I want to say that if you
Oh,
do
yeah.
have any modifications that you want to make after February 20th, you certainly can email us in counseling and we will take care of it for you. It's just at that point, the screen is no longer available to do it like self-select. You would work with us in counseling to continue if you have any other revisions that you want to take care of. At the end of February, we begin to look at all of this course request data and begin to make some, begin to really construct the master schedule. Please know, just in case anybody is concerned, course selections, course requests are not first come, first serve. They are not first come, first serve. So you can take the latter part of the window and rest assured that you will be just fine in terms of getting those course requests that your child wants. So we went over these screens in our last webinar at the beginning of January, but I'm happy to talk through these again. These are the screens that you will see when you log in to Parent Portal. And so this is just a visual, as Mr. Sanchez said. We are going to provide this slideshow to you, but this is what it looks like and where you go to get the course catalog and begin to select those courses. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing at this time, and we can kind of answer. I know
So
Mr.
some
Sanchez
questions.
has been
I've been very intense
busy in the
in
chat as
answering the
always, and
questions.
that's really awesome. I don't know if there are any other questions. I am happy to answer any questions, but I'm imagining Mr. Sanchez has been pretty comprehensive in his
Yeah, I've
question
been typing away, man.
answering. Some spelling mistakes, but don't hold
Oh,
it
I
against
know
us.
they don't have the little red thing underneath the
It's
words.
it's been a long day.
It has been.
Yes. Let's see. Okay, yeah, Mr. Sanchez, you've done a really good job answering these questions. I don't feel I can add value here, but parents and families, please feel free to put it in the chat. Is the date of February 17th confirmed for SOMS? Yes, it is. We will be there February 17th. Very excited to meet your eighth graders
And
slash rising ninth graders.
Dr. Jen, do they meet with the students individually? Is it a whole group?
Yes.
That was one of the questions I didn't know how to
Yeah,
answer.
yeah, yeah. No, I appreciate that. Put me to work a little bit here.
Yes.
Yes, our eighth graders, just like our ninth, 10th, and 11th, can come with their course request done, or they can say, you know what, I really want to talk to a counselor first. I didn't get a chance to talk to my mom and dad yet. Everybody gets a one-to-one conversation. I think we had that in one of our slides, but the eighth graders have that as well. They do get a one-to-one conversation. By all means, listen, we are doing a huge amount of scheduling in this window. I want every parent to know, and many of you have already reached out, so extra credit to you, right? You can always get more information by reaching out to counseling. Okay, I love to answer questions. Please do not hesitate to reach out if you are still feeling like, but wait a second, what is the right decision here? The counselors are great to work with on it, but just in case it's a little overwhelming for your child and they do want that one-to-one conversation, myself and my team, some of which are in the audience right now, so thank you, team. We will be happy to answer those questions. Can students with a 504 request inclusion classes, or is that reserved for IEPs? Yeah, so our inclusion classes by code are for students with IEPs. 504 students at times do end up on the general education side, if you will, of those sections, but the special education teacher is not assigned to them. A 504 plan is considered general education placement, but yes, they could be scheduled into an inclusion class. I hope that helps. Dynamics of Healthcare is available for ninth grade.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So this is a brand new class. We did a survey of eighth and ninth graders, maybe, I don't know, November, December, something like that, and asked, what kind of career pathways are you interested in being able to take more classes? Are you interested in having that career connection to your high school coursework? And overwhelmingly the answer was yes, we want to know what the career connections are. We want to be able to think about next steps within our academic coursework. And health sciences was one of the career pathways that our students really, really wanted us to build out. So Dynamics of Healthcare is that introductory class in the health science pathway. How do we reach out directly with specific questions for an individual student? Yeah, so you can reach out to me. I'll put my email in the chat. And if I am completely underwater with emails, which doesn't happen too often, I will bring on a colleague to assist me to answer your questions. But I'm happy to answer any of those questions. Study
And can I?
hall. Oh, of course. Go ahead.
Well, go ahead. I was going to answer that, and I'll answer a sports. And I'll do a sports question.
Yeah, I don't know the answer to the sports question, folks. I'm gonna give that to Mr. Sanchez. Okay. The structure of study hall. How many minutes is it? It is the exact same minutes as every other class. It is a full-fledged period. You could presumably take, as Mr. Sanchez talked about a little bit before, you could take it for half the year. Or you could take it for the full year. Some of our students want that online personal finance. That information will come out about week 2, week 3 of the semester, and you can utilize the semester study hall for that. You can utilize a full year study hall for that, but it is a full regular class. It is not credit bearing, as we talked about before. So if a freshman has one full year study hall, that means they are attempting 35 credits, not 40. Do you
So I
want to
was
do the
just trying
sports
to
question?
get. Oh yeah. So I'm going to put a link to the website that has the sports. We have sports for fall, obviously winter and spring. We will have, just so you know, a special night for freshman parents or rising parents that will kind of, showcase the different sports that our students do have. Um, so those are the those are the choices that you have. High school parents want to know about vacationing. I would say usually football starts every year, like August 7, 8, or 9. That's football and swimming. Those are the two sports that are allowed to start 1 week earlier than everybody else. And so then, if it's the 7th or the 8th plus 7, it's going to be like the 14th, 15th, and 16th for all the other sports. However, there are sometimes captains practices and things like that. That's unofficial from the high school. There's nothing to do with us, as to, these are the students themselves lead jogging and stuff, but students are not mandated to attend that. So those are the sports, and I think it's always a nice thing to start off with. It's a good way to meet other students. We fortunately, though many districts are dealing with um, budgetary constraints. We have a full slate of planning, a full slate of freshman sports. Not every high school has freshman sports, so we do, and we're fortunate that we're keeping that for next year, of course. And then the freshman orientation, we will do. It's an optional freshman orientation. This is when we invite parents and students to attend for a 2-day session. We highly recommend it, but it is optional. But we will have 2 different weeks of when it will be, and it will be in it'll be the last 2 weeks of August that we're going to offer it. So, again, because so many of our students play sports or are in other school activities, it makes sense to do it in the last 2 weeks of August.
Okay. Couple of the other questions further up in the chat. Question about how if a student's first elective request cannot get fulfilled, how the system, I think what the question is, how does the system know which of the 2 choices would go first? So yeah, that's a good question. It is, a mass scheduling process that we then go over with a fine tooth comb. Once that has been populated, I think when the first choice is not granted, it would pull from the choice that was aligned to that first choice and so on. But certainly if, if those 2 were not able to be selected, then it would pull any alternates in. But please know we have a very robust schedule change process throughout the summer, that we have a Google form that we send out, and my summer helpers and myself are working tirelessly on that to ensure that we are refining schedules. So it is a mass scheduling process that we then go ahead and refine. My hope is that we will refine and scrub really in June, so that students have that information before camp, before vacation start, and we are able to flesh out questions and concerns earlier in the summer. Our number one goal in the summertime is to make the schedules as perfect as possible. It's something that I'm deeply committed to. So of course, if there are any questions, please do not hesitate to reach out to us.
So there's a question about phones, and just so you know that all students right now, of course, in 8th grade, enjoy a phone-free world. No phones in the middle school. Our current 9th graders are doing the same with Yonder pouches. So they have a phone when they walk into the school. Period 1, it's locked, and then period 8, or at the end of their 8th class, they get unlocked and they keep their Yonder pouch in their book bag. So next year, we will promise the same thing. All freshmen will have Yonder pouches from period 1 to the end of the day, including lunch. The only thing is right now we're not really sure what we're going to do with our 10th grade, our current ninth graders next year during lunch, because if they want to leave campus, they might want to have their phone unlocked. We're not sure, but I can guarantee since freshmen are not allowed to leave for lunch, your children will have a yonder pouched phone-free day.
Mr. Sanchez, there was a question about how a child, if they are a native or heritage speaker of a
Yeah,
language, can get that advanced placement, so to speak, into the next world language. And what I've been saying is to reach out to Dr. Robles, but is there a
that's
more refined way
yes.
to do it?
That is the
Okay,
only way to do it. And that
okay,
goes with that.
perfect.
And that
I'll put,
same thing. I don't know if you want to consider code a language, but our first coding class, right, is roadmap to computing. We have some students who already know Python, right? Or maybe I'm dating myself. I don't know if Python's even
yeah,
useful.
that's getting old, I think.
Sorry. All right. But
That's
they
okay.
may already code. So maybe they want to take the next class beyond roadmap to computing. That again, then you would talk to our STEM supervisor, Miss Karina Parcio. Maybe your child is a gifted artist or a gifted musician and has been told already, hey, maybe you don't want to do concert band, you should do symphonic band. If that is the case, then again, you contact the band leader or the supervisor of arts, which is James Mano. All the lists of supervisors are on like page 2 of the program of studies, and that's how you do it.
Yeah, I put a few of those emails into the chat. So our supervisors were wonderful. They will definitely get back to you on any questions. Just taking another quick peek here. How long will each period be? And will the students have a lab for science? Yes, the students will
For the
have a
first
lab.
time, yes, your children will have, well, for the first time since I've been here, biology students don't have a lab period, which is, I think, crazy. That's the feature of the new schedule, to have extended periods. I can't answer all what is the exact time for each period. We are looking to increase our schedule from 45-minute classes to longer than that, at least 50 minutes. I can't tell you exactly what because we're still in negotiations, but we should have that all finished up within several weeks. And then we will gladly, as I mentioned before, present a webinar to parents about the finished product. We've already workshopped it with teachers who helped create it actually, and then we workshopped it with some students as well in a
Oh,
student forum.
Mr. Sanchez, I see a really good question in the chat that I would love to run with the ball on.
Start
Can
time
we?
of school will always be 7:55. No, that's not the question.
That's not the question.
But it's there.
The,
But now
the
you know.
question is a little further up, and it's really important. Can you drop back to standard level course if honors proves too challenging? So I
Yes.
just want to commend this parent for asking this real question. Not all of the questions are real, excuse me, but this is a great question for so many reasons. Sometimes we don't even know how students are going to feel in a particular class. Also, if they are in multiple honors classes, it can be challenging, and maybe some of those honors classes are speaking to them, inspiring them, they're really excited about it, and maybe that one, I'm not an English person or I'm not a world language person. Yes, of course. We want to make sure that everyone's schedule supports them. So as long as there is room in the academic level, they can switch down. I will say that we judge or assess how many sections we run based on the course request data you are currently putting in. So right around March, we're going to begin to build the master schedule. And what we're going to do is we're going to look and we're going to see how many parents requested, or how many students rather requested Spanish 1 versus, the honors, whatever the case may be. And we have to make our decisions based on that. So I would encourage your child and you to have thoughtful conversations, ask the relevant supervisor, like Mr. Sanchez mentioned, very early on in the course catalog. You can definitely email me. Take a look at that mindset, habits slide that we developed, to make those thoughtful decisions, because the spots in classes are finite, right? So there is going to come a point where we run out of room. So we want to make those thoughtful conversations now. And we are here to answer any questions whatsoever.
They have a request to talk about option two. So I just want to quickly state option two is a state code that allows our students to have another option of a graduation requirement within the school, right? That we maybe not offer. So let me just give an example. World language. We offer Spanish, Mandarin, and French, right? Those are our three current languages that we're going to offer for your children. We do have a handful of students who have said, you know what, Frank, that's awesome, but I'd like my child to learn. I think we're offering Japanese, or I'm sorry, students are selecting on their own Japanese, Dutch, and Hebrew, right? So they have worked it out themselves. They've partnered with another provider. They've paid for it themselves, but they're saying, Dr. Robles, supervisor of world language, Mr. Sanchez, is this curriculum okay? Can my child do this, whether it's during the day or after school, instead of doing world language with you? Yes, that's option two. We also have something called option two PE, physical education. So that's for students currently who are doing a aerobic activity, a specific competitive sport, right? After school, and can they take that in lieu of gym? So option two PE, not every school offers it, right? Some schools are frown upon it, and many schools that do offer it don't even offer it for freshmen. Currently, we do, right? So your child can take two, can opt out, if you will, of PE twice every single year. Freshman, sophomore, junior, senior year, right? Those are your four options. If they play three sports. So it has to be during the sport. So for example, if your child plays a fall sport, they can actually opt out of PE, have a study hall instead of PE during that marking period, which is the first marking period. If they play a winter sport, they can choose either the second or the third. If they play a spring sport, unfortunately, they cannot use option two their freshman year because that's when they have health. But hey, if they play a spring sport sophomore year, they can do it then. So I hope that helps everybody with option two. But that stuff will happen during the year. So for example, you don't have to worry about it. Sign up for PE. It is what it is. If your child is in cross country or something like that, then there'll be a email that will say you can sign up for it, and we'll take care of that the first week. All right. Well, I hope that helps everybody. I'm sorry.
That's okay, Mr. Sanchez. We had a couple
Yeah.
questions about, not to switch gears back to academics. We had a couple questions further up in the chat about, is there an ideal number of honors classes to take? And also, what would be a typical amount of homework for an all honors freshman schedule? So what I would like to say on, is there an ideal honors number to take? I'm going to go ahead and say, no, there is no ideal. How do we figure out how to do this? We figure out what it is that your student is motivated to do, remembering that the honors level is going to be a faster pace, maybe a little bit more depth in how the teacher is instructing certain concepts. Maybe some more independence is built in on things are not as chunked as much. But yeah, it would be very hard for us to say, here is the number that we are recommending. I think what Mr. Sanchez said before about figuring out what motivates your student, maybe I'm a humanities person, maybe I'm a STEM person, maybe I like classes that are hands-on, that's really, to me, I think a more beneficial way to explore that conversation. Think about what they enjoyed in 8th grade. What classes were easy for them to jump in and do that homework, and which we kind of felt like a dental extraction. Hopefully not. So
I had a root canal
that
last
would
week,
be
please.
that is where we want to kind of think about. As far as homework for an all honor schedule, it's another really good question. Again, this is going to depend in part on, did we make that decision about a study hall where a student has that possibly, once a cycle, 70-minute period of a study hall. Wow, they can get everything done if they're doing that, right? But that is going to depend. Did we go for the study hall? Are we doing what are we doing outside of school? So I can't really give you everything really differs across instructional areas and across teachers. Frank, do you feel like there's any way to kind of
No,
manualize that for our parents
I
more?
really can't. No, it depends.
Depends.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
Um,
in any case, I just want to say thank you to everyone. We'll answer more questions. You can always email Dr. Jen Antone and Frank Sanchez anytime with any more questions that you may have. But we're really looking forward. I think we'll have a lot of opportunities to meet with the Freshman Academy actual vice principal as well. It's going to be fun. I think I love Columbia High School, and I think your child's is lucky to be in such a great institution. So anyway, we look forward to
thank you
to, to
all.
meeting everyone, and thank you so much for your support. We appreciate it.
Thanks, everyone.